No matter how many manifestation courses I did, affirmations I did, how much I prayed, couldn't figure out why was my reality in life not going the way I would like it to go. Hi, I'm Shaima and I'm a transformational coach. So one of the things I get asked a lot about is, how did I get into this work? So I had started therapy quite religiously after my second divorce. And since then, I was also practicing and doing a lot of other modalities because I seemed so stuck that therapy was showing me how I was doing things and why I was doing it. But it didn't help me stop doing what I was doing or how I could change it. There was nobody telling me how I could change it. There was no advice about that. And I just felt stuck. So no matter what I did, the stuckness was always there until I came across this work. And that changed my life. It changed my life forever. And that is why I've gone from being the consumer of this work to the producer of this work. I believe this is the fastest and the quickest way to make changes and transformations in your life where you are stuck. So when I first started hearing about this work and really felt like a whisper to try it, I didn't know what I was going to get out of it from a complete transformation point, but I knew that I would be in a better place than I was before I started. And that trust I had. So where was I stuck? So I was really stuck in that no matter how many manifestation courses I did, affirmations I did, how much I prayed, how much I read self-help books, it wasn't changing the misery I was feeling. There was a level of unhappiness and I couldn't figure out why was my reality in life not going the way I would like it to go. Why was I ending up with the men I was ending up with, the in-laws I was ending up with, the jobs I was ending up with? And why was it that I was the person that people turned to when they needed things done? I always felt that I was picking up the slack, which made me really angry and disappointed in people and really full of rage as to how dare they ask me again, or how do they ask me and not ask anybody else, and how dare they put me in a position where I had to say no. And every time people had asked, and it seemed to be a repeating pattern for me, no matter how old I was, who I was with, that was the reality in the world I was getting. And I was really stuck in that and exhausted with the doing and helping, feeling religiously I had to do the right thing. I couldn't say no to the elders. It's this entanglement of family, religion, and culture that you don't know where it starts and where it stops, where you start and where you start. So the boundaries were so blurred between myself and everybody else. And so as time went on, I started leaving relationships. I started leaving conversations due to the anger and the rage that I held. And that was one of the stucknesses that I resolved when I came into this work. It was one of my first layers. I have gone through many layers since then because I'm doing deep work as a producer. So my coach really made me see the time as a child where I was stuck, where I made it mean something, that I had to survive because I had to do the right thing, where I had to do what I was told to get safety in my life. And that was so ingrained, and it was sort of an autopilot thing programmed in me that I just kept on doing it, but I didn't realize that's what I was doing and why I was doing that for. So when that was pointed out to me, it was like magic. It's what we call the Zen moment. It was a seeing that no therapist had showed me. I had done quite a bit of therapy work for 10 years with different therapists, different forms of therapy. And that was life-changing. It's just like the weight had lifted from my shoulders and I felt free. I felt I could breathe and everything all of a sudden, like a snapshot, felt like I could do anything I wanted. There was no restriction. And that didn't mean that I'd left my family system. It was quite the opposite, or my culture, or my religion. But I felt free to do what I wanted. And what my coach helped me do is really see where the boundaries were and how I can set these seamless boundaries without needing to say, yes, I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. How dare you? There's none of that. When people ask me, and I hardly get asked these days, but when I do, my reaction is from a place of softness, is a place from non-judgmental, from a place of no judgment, no blame, and a place from fierce clarity as to what I'll say yes to and what I'll say no to. The other thing that I have worked a lot, and what this work does, is work on forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is very different to acceptance. What we tend to do is we say, oh yes, I forgive this person because they've done blah blah to me. But for me, and what forgiveness really is you have to do it from your heart. That is forgiveness. Because once you do that, you have a heart opening. And that takes work, because it takes you to the darkest moment where somebody has done wrong or trauma. So for me, there was abuse that I had to deal with the individuals involved. And what that really meant, and to forgive people from that perspective, takes you to a place where it's painful and it's dark, and it really takes you to the edges. But the thing is, you come out on the other side. And when you come out from the other side, you have this freedom and this love and peace that you've not felt before. And that becomes a prerequisite to the surrender and submission work when it comes to prayers and surrendering to your Creator. So, if you are somebody who practices Abrahamic religions, also other religions, because submission and surrender to the unknown and being conscious of that is common in all religions. That is the place we need to get to. This is the work, because this is the stepping stone for you to dance with the flow of your life and trust what the unknown is, and feeling safe, and really feeling safe. You cannot create something new from a place of knowing. That is the complete opposite of creating something new. And that is how we trust the Creator or Source. So my invitation for people who are in difficult relationships with their family members, either they're not talking to a family member, or they're planning to cut them out, or they're in marriages or relationships where it is difficult and they feel, or they're thinking about divorce, or there is resignation that this is just not going to work because you're not being heard or seen. I encourage you to step into the space and do the work and see really what is it that you're doing, and step into your empowerment and take accountability and responsibility of where you're behaving from. What is it that you have your attachment to, or you have a real strong grip because you think safety is there and you can't let go of that before you make any life decisions, because this work will make you see it differently. And the freedom you will get from your actions and your behavior and your beliefs will make you see and behave differently and choose differently. This work really opens your eyes and makes you see what needs to be seen, what you need to deal with, which has nothing to do with other people around you. So you pretty much quickly start seeing and letting go of the judgment and blame and the hiding that you do to avoid circumstances and people. And it allows you to step into the empowerment so you can do what needs to be done. And then you don't get triggered as people say things or do things, because you've worked on yourself and you've been with the uncomfortable sensations and feelings, and you know where they're coming from, and you can observe it arising in your body. So if you have a whisper to know more about this work and the techniques that I use, please DM me. I'm also offering first free sessions, which are discovery sessions, so you can see if this modality is right for you.